Hello, my name is Mahlat and I teach grade 12 life orientation. So last lesson we were talking about stress and everything that has to do with it. We were talking about what is stress, the types of stress, management, the distress and the eustress, okay? And then I concluded by the management, the ways to manage stress. And I said to you that each and every stress has its own solution, okay? You can't be stressed about mathematics and sitting down and visiting a doctor. You know, that's not the solution. You should be stressed about mathematics and deciding to speak about it, deciding to stand up and go ask your teacher about it. You can't be stressed, you can't be having a physical stress, let's say TB, and be sitting in your house and expecting solutions. You should be getting up and go see a doctor. You can't be having an emotional stress and not talking about it or writing down about it. You can't be having a social stress and be like, nothing will change. You really need to stand up and see if maybe there's something that you can do about it. So basically this is just I was just touching up on the management, but then you can look at our lesson on our first video. I think I posted the video. And we were talking about stress. You can go through it, but then today I want us to talk about conflict, okay? I want us to talk about conflict. It's okay even if you can't see this whole thing. Whatever I'm saying, it's whatever that is on here, okay? So a conflict is disagreement, it's argument, it's fighting, so you know what it means. You know, you have had conflict with yourself, you have conflict with other people, you have conflict with your friends, your family, and your parents, and your teacher, and everyone. You have had conflict. You know this. You know you have had a fight. You have had a disagreement. You've had an argument, right? Whereby different points were being shared by different people from different sides, okay? So a conflict is a disagreement, it's a fight, it's an argument between people, okay? Anyways, conflict is not always a bad thing. Conflict can also be a positive, can also be a negative, just like stress, whereby we were talking about distress, which is the negative side of stress, and then we were talking about a eustress, which is the positive side of stress, okay? So the same thing happens when it comes to conflicts, okay? Fighting, it's not always bad. If you're fighting with your friends, it doesn't mean you guys don't like each other, don't love each other, you guys are bad for each other. No. Fighting with your parents, fighting with your dog, for people who have pets, fighting with your pets, fighting with your peers, doesn't necessarily mean the relationship it's bad. It doesn't really mean you guys are are going to split. However, it has to come up with the standards, okay? You can't be fighting with you can't be arguing. Okay, we can't be arguing with your parents like you're arguing with your friends, okay? You can be arguing with your friends like you're arguing with your little sister. So it has to do with the level. So the moment whereby you come here and you be arguing with your parents the same way you argue with your friends, that's where a conflict has become bad. That's the bad side of a conflict. That's number one. That not knowing how to argue with people, okay? That's number one. And then number two, when you guys always have a conflict. So I'll give an example with a friend here. So I'll use a friend this time around and just forget with the parents and the teachers and all, because you guys will be out there arguing with your parents and then telling them that argument is okay, conflict is okay, you've had. So but let me give an example with a friend. So so the moment whereby your conflict, let me write positives and the negative. The positive side of a conflict is that you guys can be able to resolve you can be able to resolve your issues, right? And you can be able to hear the side story of your friends, or what is it, or you can be able to hear their feelings and how they feel about a certain thing, and all that. Because whenever you guys have an argument, I get the other person will be there talking about, well, I don't like how you do this, well, I don't like how you say this, but I don't like blah blah blah, right? So that's the positive side of it. And when you'll be able to what, to point out your feelings and how you feel about a certain thing, right? And in the moment whereby the argument becomes constant, right? The moment you guys be arguing on daily basis, the argument becomes constant. It's a forever thing. That's when a conflict becomes what? That's when a conflict becomes a negative side. It's always happening. And also during the argument, someone is out there mentioning someone's insecurities, or swearing at that person, or not listening to that person, or arguing while under the influence. That's when a conflict becomes bad, right? Inside conflict, we have our two types of conflicts. We have the intrapersonal. Let's pay attention to the intra, okay? The intra and the inter, all right? And then we have the intra and the inter. So this is easily remembered. Or you can say, let's say the intrapersonal conflict, we're talking about the conflict within yourself. I'm pretty sure some of us were already having this intrapersonal conflict. It's just that we are probably not aware of it. And then we have the inter. This is between people, okay? Let's not forget that, between people. So this is you and your friend, and then the intra, this is you and you. So as a human being, you are thinking, right? And you are talking to yourself. So I think in grade 10 we were talking about self-awareness. So in this chapter, we were talking about you being able to feel yourself, being able to talk to yourself, being able to know that you exist, right? So the moment you know that you exist, that's when you are including the intrapersonal, okay? So obviously you'll be fighting yourself between, let's talk about examples. Let's talk about you deciding to study and study after school, and then the other side of you says you should study at night. So you'll be having intrapersonal conflicts. You trust yourself that you can be able to study after school, and also the other person in you trust itself that it can be able to study at night. This is where we'll be talking about the personas. People be talking about, oh well, I have multiple personas, I have this, it's because you have two different thoughts, in your mind. So you're talking about the intrapersonal conflict, whereby one side of you is saying, well, you should study now, and then the other side of you says you should wake up tomorrow morning, and then the other side of you says, well, we can't be waking up in the morning, let's just do it right now and study and finish it. And the other side of you be like, oh well, we're tired, let's not do it. That's when you be having, those are the conflicts. You're fighting against yourself. Let's talk about the confidence. Let's talk about you feeling like you're not beautiful, and then the other side of you be like, oh, I'm beautiful, I'm fine, there's nothing wrong with me. But the other side of you be like, oh well, you don't fit the beauty standards, you don't do this, you don't do that, right? And then let's talk about the intrapersonal conflict, whereby you be fighting with your friend because she offended you, or he offended you, whereby you be fighting your friend because he don't want to hang out with you, whether you be fighting with your friend, or you fighting with this person, your parents. You be arguing with this, you be arguing with the law, you be arguing with the people who are doing on social media. You'll be fighting with other people. When you're posting, you be doing some interpersonal conflicts, and then when they're posting back, and when you're posting back. Those are the intrapersonal conflict. Interpersonal conflict, it's between you and other people. Another example of intrapersonal conflict is when during multiple choice, and then you don't know whether the answer is A or B, right? And then you're not sure. Sometimes we see students writing A and then canceling it out and then writing B. Sometimes some of the students, they be writing A and then B on top of A, right? And then showing that this person had intrapersonal conflicts. It shows that they were not sure whether the answer was A or it was B. Now that we know what a conflict is, and then we know the two types, the intra, between yourself, the interpersonal conflict between you and the people, right? And then let's look at how to resolve it. Now that you are fighting with yourself, now that you are fighting with other people, how am I going to resolve it? How should I resolve this? So number one, you can decide to listen. Maybe you should listen to yourself. Okay, maybe sit down and really listen to yourself. What is it that you really want? What is it that you really meant? Go reread the question. What does the question want? Okay, and then maybe trust yourself. Okay, if you decided to choose A, write A, then accept that even if A is wrong, it's fine. I chose A. Okay, so you really need to listen to yourself. What is it that you want? What is it that you don't want? What is it that the other person is saying, without you interfering? Okay. You can decide to have self-control. So whenever the other person, you can tell when a person is trying to fight with you, or is trying to humiliate you, or is trying to destroy you, you can tell, you can easily tell, you right? So you can just have self-control and not respond to it, and just look at that person, or smile, or just walk away. Okay, that's self-control. Walking away from the conflict. Bye, I'm leaving, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm not gonna entertain this is going to be ruin my reputation. Just to walk away. That is self-control. Walking away, not entertaining, blocking the person. If maybe you're a social media person, we're talking about the blocking the person, the reporting the person. That is you including self-control in that conflict. Or you can negotiate, right? You can negotiate with your boss. Maybe try to negotiate with them. Maybe try to work on weekends, try to work on weekends, taking leave, taking sick leave. I don't know. There are a lot of things to negotiate in life. Usually they're gonna usually negotiating. We can see it usually with kids when they're fighting for one toy. You can just negotiate. You can just negotiate with them. Maybe you can just borrow each other this toy, or maybe take it away so that they can both suffer, not having their toy. Or maybe the other one should play with it and the other one should wait for a minute. Usually we see it with kids, man. If you grew up, or if in your household there are kids, I'm pretty sure this negotiating resolution conflict skill, you've been using it. You can decide to take part in the conflict. What I'm saying in this is that you should at least put the word I, include I am sorry, I didn't see this, I didn't know, I understand, or I didn't understand. Those things. I take control. I know what you're talking about. I don't understand what you're talking about. Okay, just take part in what you did. I accept. I didn't understand. This is you taking part, rather than saying, well, I thought you did this. Well, why don't you? Well, instead of that, just put, well, I didn't understand. I thought you meant this and this and this and this and this. So the other person will really understand you, will really, 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 really understand that you are taking part and you really want to resolve the conflict. And then the other one, we're talking about communication. Obviously, you need to talk about it. Obviously, communication, I think it sums up everything. All of this aspects at the top. We're talking about listening, self-control, negotiating, taking part. They all fall under communication, because there's no way you can communicate. Communicating, it includes the listening. Obviously, it includes self-control, it includes negotiating, it includes taking part, right? So the last one, hence I put it at the bottom to be the last one, to sum up everything. Okay, so the last part, to solve your interpersonal conflict or to your intrapersonal conflict, you can do what? You can communicate with the person. How do you do that? Okay, how do you do it? By the way, when you communicate with the person, you need to respect. So if someone comes to you and say, well, I don't like black people, that's racist, right? So you can just simply tell them, well, that is racist, rather than swearing at them. you can respectfully just telling them, oh well, that is really racist, and I really don't understand why should you even say that. You are being racist. Okay, simple, straightforward, simple, not swearing, no beating up. It just includes maturity. Okay, number 2, you can just listen to the other person. If someone comes to you and say, well, I like pink and not purple, I think purple is ugly, you can just listen to that person and not respond, right? Not everything should be responded, right? You shouldn't respond to everything, so you can just listen to the person. And sometimes maybe you should, if someone says, well, I don't like eating meat, I think vegetables are the one, you can just listen to the person. Oh really? You can just start by asking the question, oh really, so tell me about vegetables. Even though you know that you don't follow them, you will never change your ways, you will never stop eating your meat. You can just listen, just to pass time, honestly. Because if you're gonna start by arguing with the person, wow, there's no way you can eat vegetables your rest of your life, it's going to do what? It's going to go back to what? To interpersonal conflict, which is what we don't want, right? We don't want that, right? And then the last one, you can do what? You can express your views. You can express your views what? Only you can express it respectfully. I think expressing your views includes listening to the other person and respecting the other person. Okay, so you really need to express your views. So whenever you communicate with the person, express your views appropriately. Okay, not just expressing your views, you need to express them appropriately. So instead of when someone says, well, the color white is ugly, I like the color purple, don't be saying that's not expressing your views appropriately. You can just, oh, all right, well, let me tell you about the color white. Then let me tell the good effect of the color white. Let me tell you what the color white can do for you. Let me tell you this, let me tell you the advantage. You know, that is you communicating with the person appropriately, rather than just telling them, well, you crazy, well, you are Rafa, what would you, well, not those things, right? You're not communicating with the person and those things whereby you're not communicating with the person appropriately, inappropriate, it's going to give us what? The interpersonal conflict. So anyways, I will do some revision when we come back for the next lesson, but for now on, I think we should end it for now. Let's call it a night. I am tired. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to sleep. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, please subscribe, please share the video, please recommend, please